Hello, Namaskar, and welcome to this very special edition of Sikkim Chronicle. Well, today on our show, we have this truly remarkable woman on whose life story spans continents, cultures, and causes. From the serene hills of Gangtok, Sikkim, to the sunset shores of Gold Coast, Australia, Sonam Ongmu Denzongpa has worn many hats. She, in fact, is a hospitality expert, community leader, documentary narrator, NAATI-accredited language specialist, and a registered marriage celebrant in Australia. Her work is rooted in storytelling, ritual, and cultural connection, weaving tradition with modernity. Today, we are going to have a very intense and in-depth conversation with Sonam Ongmu Denzongpa. And let me tell you that she has already produced the documentaries like a pig, a chicken, and a bag of rice, and of course, a pilgrimage into Tibet. And now she, in fact, is working in the upcoming project Sikkim Land in the Clouds. Sonam, once again, welcome to Sikkim Chronicle.
Thank you so much for
So,
having me.
first thing I just wanted to ask you is that after how many years, like you are back to your home?
I was just here in December, January. I stayed for 4 weeks. Then I was traveling around Tsopema, up north, Delhi, and I'm back again. I love my land.
So, what is the that force which
Purpose?
brings you back?
So definitely the love of the land, not the house, but the love of the land. I've lived in Australia. I went there to study in 1995. And since then, so it's to 2025. So it's 30 years I've lived outside home. But I try to visit at least once a year, if not twice a year, to my homeland.
And this time you are here with a purpose
Absolutely.
which connects you back to the roots of Sikkim.
Absolutely.
And you are producing this documentary, Sikkim Land in the Clouds.
Yeah.
And you have been traveling, you have been recording, and you have been interacting with the people, right? I just wanted to ask you how important it is for, the Himalayan state like Sikkim voices to be represented in the global media.
So, for instance, for me, I've lived there. I've interacted with all sorts of people from grassroots level to working class to bureaucrats to billionaires. And when I say you know, when I say, like when they ask me a question, where you're from, and I say Sikkim, and there's always a blank. It's very few who say Sikkim. Oh yes, I've been there. Otherwise, it's always like, now where is Sikkim? So I give them the task of saying, punch in and find it out where it is because it's beautiful. And I say we've got the third highest mountain. Okay, so they know the Mount Everest, but after that they don't know. So, yeah. So the reason I'm back, and so in these 30 years, I've seen how much Sikkim has developed, both in positive and not so positive ways. And I guess change is inevitable. It happens. It's impermanence. And the reason I'm back this time is identity, question of identity, being there, telling people I'm Sikkimese. So who is this Sikkimese? What is Sikkimese? And secondly, I have 3 daughters, beautiful daughters. I have 7, 8 nieces and nephews, and they are the future. And they have a beautiful blend of Sikkimese culture and Australian culture. They love the land because I try to bring them every year so they know their roots. My husband's very supportive. He's Australian. And what I find is they don't know the history. And the reason I want to make this documentary, Sikkim in the Land of Clouds, is we have such huge, beautiful, rich history. And coming there, merger with India. Now it's 50 years we're celebrating. So I wanted to be here on this State Day to see how far we've come ahead, the opportunities our people have had. And I love the biodiversity. I love different cultures and languages and this beautiful blend of faith, culture, languages. So, yeah, and then to capture that and to relate a story. So when we, one day, the children can look back and say, wow, this is our history. And I'm hoping that we can convey that. And that's why I'm
Absolutely,
here.
absolutely. So you have taken this medium of storytelling, like through films, and prior to this, you have already produced two documentaries, and we are really excited for the third one, Sikkim Land in the Clouds. But I just wanted to talk about your documentary on pilgrimage into Tibet,
Okay.
where you reached up to Mount Kailash, right?
Yes.
So tell us about this documentary.
Okay. So, so Mount Kailash has been my bucket list. We all have a bucket list, and I'm a spiritual person. And when I first sighted, someone had shown me the picture of the mountain. I looked at it and I fell in love with it. I'm going, wow, where is this? And then they said it's Mount Kailash. So I've inquired about how do you go there? And I believe you have to do lottery system through India. It was pretty difficult to go there. Anyway, so my last visit, this was in 2019, before the COVID. I was here in Sikkim and I had just arrived in Australia and I was having coffee with my girlfriends and I got a phone call from my filmmaker friend Mark Gould, and he called me and said, hey, I'm thinking about doing a documentary to pilgrimage into Tibet, and we are going to go trekking to Mount Kailash. Would you be interested? I was like, what? Of course, yes. And I said, yes, I'm in. And he said, I said, then first question was, in West, time is always an essence. Time is so important. So I said, how long will that be? And he said, maybe 5 to 6 weeks. And I go, oh, because I'm a mother, I have children, I have responsibility. And then I said, okay, let me talk with my husband and think about it. And so supportive was my husband. He said, of course, you love this, you've got to do it. So let's make it work out, how we can do it. And I had the responsibility of sorting out ladies, and Mark took care of the men. So we were 4 ladies. So I had a friend who's a doctor, so it was good to have a doctor in the team. And then I had another friend who's a retired school principal, and she loves this part of the world. Another friend, she was a bit like a lady in a wonderland who'd never even seen a mandir or a temple or heard of Himalayas. So it was a fantastic team we went. So we were 8 of us. We journeyed into Mount Kailash. And the question of visa and passport always with our name coming from Sikkim. But fortunately, everything worked out and was amazing.
That's really interesting. So, tell us about your first documentary, about a pig, a chicken, and a bag. I think you were involved in this.
Yes. So I didn't know about documentary making. So my husband is a live shows entertainment. So Mark was doing he was doing some show working for my husband. And then when he found out that Phil had gone to Sikkim, India, to get married, and he was fascinated, and he contacted Phil. And then Phil says, yeah, I'm getting married. Why did you come to the Himalayas? And so he, as a kid, I believe, had seen in National Geography, and he always was fascinated. And I believe the title was Land in the Clouds, and that's why we're borrowing this name into this documentary. And he says, when I grow up, one day I'd like to go. So he just told his family, I've got money, let's all pack up. So he brought his 2 children and his wife, and they came for a holiday, attended our wedding. And then he says, look, I want to give you guys a gift. How about we make a documentary? So that's how the start. And it was just a 3 days wedding, a typical Sikkimese Bhutia wedding we had. But I got married in Australia. We had an Australian wedding. We just had about 150 guests, our close friends. And my mom said, look, I want my daughter to have a Sikkimese wedding for my people, with my community. And then my husband turns around and said, can we have a traditional wedding? He didn't know what traditional wedding involved. So that's the title. There goes a pig, a chicken, and a bag of rice, which was a Sikkimese dowry to our mother
Yeah.
for carrying a baby for 9 months.
Oh, that's the connotation.
Yes.
Okay.
And then with that, of course, come the money, the gold, and the clothes, and to say thank you to the mother for raising this woman who I'm taking away from you now. So it's a gift to the mother for breastfeeding her, carrying her for 9 months. And now she's like, fully fledged, she's educated, ready to earn, and then she's getting married. So that was a gift to the mom to say thank you.
You
So we
lost your mom to cancer.
I did, which was very sad. She had a cervical cancer. And then She had a treatment in Apollo, and that was fine. But she had a relapse, which was finally took her. So, in fact, my mom already had cancer. We had done operation when we shot this video. And by the time we finished filming and released it in 2006, she had passed away. She didn't get to see it. But she wholeheartedly supported us, welcomed my 20 Australian friends to come and enjoy what a traditional wedding is. And they loved the Sikkimese hospitality, beautiful blend of cultures. We had people from all walks of life come to celebrate. So it's very precious. It's very precious, yeah, that move.
You know, you have also been involved in as a registered marriage celebrant. It's a very, I mean, unusual profession, especially when it comes to like India, Sikkim basically, right? So what drew you to this profession?
Okay, so my husband has a very busy schedule and he travels around the world, and we have shows around Sydney Opera House, in Melbourne, almost all cities in Australia, commercially viable, of course. And I chose to be a full-time mom, to be there for my children. I wanted to hold Sikkimese value and not them to daycare, which is very common in the West. Parents get busy choosing careers and the kids get left in a daycare. And I didn't want that. So I breastfed my children 2 years each. And I wanted to be there for them. I chose to be mom. And so this kind of courses gave me freedom to be entrepreneur on my own terms. I didn't have to work for anyone 9 to 4, so I can choose when I can do that, and I don't, I can do it on a weekend or any weekdays. And now my children are grown up, so it gives me accessible. So what it does is you're not confined to have a wedding in a church or in a little office. You can go to your favorite place in your house or your garden or beaches or anywhere you love. And a celebrant like us, we give the legal permission to say a man and a woman or a man and a man, doesn't matter, you're legally married. So I have that authority, so I studied that. And we are the representative of Advocate General of Australia in the field. So we have to assess whether it's legal marriage and you're over the age of 18. And then, I do the paperwork. So it's interesting. What motivated me to do this was because I've got so many children, nephews and nieces, and I thought, oh, wouldn't that be great if I can? And I think because I lost both my parents so young. My dad, I was only 16 and a half, 17. I loved my father. He passed away during work, and my mom when my first child was just born. So I treasure every moment. And I love creating events. I love making it memorable. So, and wedding is auspicious, bringing two people together. And I thought, okay, how can I be involved and create it and make it beautiful, auspicious? So that's why I chose this role.
That's right. So I just would like to specifically mention here, when the entire world was facing the COVID crisis, you were there showing the true human resilience, and for that, the Spirit of the Community Award was bestowed on you. What were the engagements you did during the COVID pandemic?
Okay. So my children go to, in Gold Coast, it's called Somerset College. It's a private school and very reputable. Academically, they're very known. And of course, during COVID, everyone was like really taken back, really scared.
Right.
But our school was very fortunate. It was only closed for 5 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was already very much engaged in a school in social activities. But I'm a big believer in meditation.
Mm-hmm.
So I reached out to the principal and I said, well-being of the children. I will come. So I was one of the only parent allowed to go and teach in the school.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I don't want to be paid because I don't want to work under anyone else. And the great thing was I was not their teacher and I was not paid and I'm not their parent. So the kids actually listened to me. So I was teaching grade 11 and 12, teaching them how to de-stress and focus and what does meditation help. So I taught them for 3 years and I didn't want them to pay. And so this was all during COVID. And I would go to the school, and then I still do junior school, grade 6, and it was such a surprise on the Founders' Day. There was, as usual, politicians and founders and the school. So I think about 2,000 or 3,000 people had gathered in that. They honored me as the Spirit of the Community Award. This was in 2021.
Great, great. I just wanted to ask you earlier. You said that tracking down the journey of Sikkim's, 50 years. Yeah, there are some good, things which you have observed, and there are some concerns. Would you like to highlight some of the concerns which really bothers you?
Okay, definitely. Firstly, what I've noticed, especially in Gangtok, is the road.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many cars. I have to drive. I love driving. I've got a beautiful car, but it will be impossible for me to drive in Gangtok. There's so many cars, extremely narrow road, and I saw the traffic police. They're doing a good job, but I think, and in fact, just about a week ago, I attended a funeral in Dichling, and I met late retired judge, retired MP who are elders. So I reached out to them and I said, one time you guys were managing the state. What is your advice on what you see on the road right now? How can we improve the road? Because, now, so the traffic, I think, is a huge challenges that I'm sure there are experts who need to sit down and see how can we improve on that. Another thing about Sikkim is, I love Sikkim. I love the fact that everyone's so laid back, and there we are so pushed for punctuality and honoring the time. Here is poorly lacking, and I think it's okay. It's okay because that makes you slow down as well. And I think the traffic is my biggest concern. And also there are so many construction happening rapidly. There's no civic sense of a space. Everything is crouching onto each, and we have landslides. The rain is always there. And what if something happens? There are of course emergencies, but people need to think that as well. Not just, I have a little space and I'm going to build it, but build it with taste. It's concrete floors, four walls, rather than what about space? And also, I think our children need space to play. We need playgrounds. Free, not chargeable, but free playgrounds. And because we are not talking about mental well-being, everyone's going through. We need, MG Mark is packed with people, but now we have a lot of tourists hanging around. Where do our people go? Where do our people socialize? You can socialize without having to spend money. Where do we go? Where the developers have to build in the land? First thing the council passes law is, तपाईँले त्यहाँ गार्डन बनाउनै पर्छ नानी र मान्छेको लागि elderlyहरूको लागि senior citizen र नानीको लागि facilities, and also for the family. So if Sikkim can work, our government can work on that, I think that will be wonderful.
Absolutely. And this is what you have seen, because you have been observing Sikkim, being in Australia for almost more than 30 years, right?
Yes.
So I think you put the message across, your independent observation, what, Sikkim needs to specifically focus on, right? All right. So I just wanted to come back to your family. You had a difficult time. Your
Absolutely.
dad passed away, your mom passed away, and your brother, Mr. Kesinima, who in fact is now the founder of Freedom Facility, was into substance. And,
Absolutely.
he specifically mentioned to me in an interview that how you became one of the beacon of hope with so much of, encouragement and motivating him. Was it really difficult to see a brother?
To talk about Casey Nima, my brother, in fact, he's only a year and a half younger to me. But I've seen him I had 4 older siblings, and he was the youngest. And I don't know, somehow, Bhai is like your Thara. I used to see that, even though we're such little gap. And also, I think because Miro Baba young age mein khosnu bhayo, I think I grew up at that time. I've done a lot of work on myself. I've done a lot of external. I've actually done leadership courses around the world as well, and that helps me to be independent. And what I found is death of my father was a huge loss. And the day I arrived my home, my mother was looking very fragile. Our house was surrounded by all well-wishers who would come. I was studying in Delhi. I was first in university. And the my grandmother also looked so sad, my grandfather. So, the head of the family, the father has passed away. And I think that moment I had to grow up. And I think I decided I had to be the father in the house. I think so. In my course, I found that out. And then, of course, bichara mummy as a, then, so my father was a police officer. I believe he was ADC to the king from the Sikkim police. And once the Sikkim got merged with India, then my daddy was working. In those days, very high police officers or Bishu, it was countable. They were such a respectable man. But my father's weakness was alcohol. And there were, of course, a lot of domestic issues. And my mom was so dedicated. Ani later, KCहरू schoolमा पढ्दा कलेजमा जाँदाखेरि as young, he got into substance abuse. Ani I saw my mother suffer. I saw the family suffer. Not him, my other brother did as well. My father was alcoholic. So it's not easy on the family, especially for a mother who loves you. And हाम्रो टाइममा के हुन्छ भने कसम खाएर अब छोड्नु भन्छ नि for a second day, but it's a disease and then it's in your nerves. You have to remove it through treatment. Ani अब my mom didn't know. If only we knew that rehabilitation was there, my father would have got that treatment as well. He died of alcohol. Ani केसी त्यो हुँदाखेरि I knew a senior from our school who had said that he had been through that and he's actually come transformed. We can help you, Vanda. So a particular incidents where I stopped Casey and says, Casey, you have two choices. Either the police will catch you or you'll somehow have something, you'll be dead. But there's another path, a wiser path. There is a path and you have a choice now. You have to make it now. And Casey says, I need help. I'd like to do that. And then that moment I called my senior and the Wali later. They said, okay, don't let him decide, let's do it now. Then I had to ask my mom's permission. Fir आमाहरु कस्तो हुन्छ है मेरो छोरा can do no wrong, बिचाराले के खान्छ, you want to take it to Darjeeling, because that time only Darjeeling Kripa was the facility. There was none in Gangtok. So I said, Mom, please don't worry. In fact, I'll cover the cost. I'll take the responsibility. Let's take by now. Then Basuda's and Tim, they both arrived on the Taniki. And I told my mom, no first class treatment. Bedding pack garer will go in local jeep. And the Taniki, local jeep ma hami Darjeeling gaye, that tire puncture bhayo and Casey was going through withdrawal. Taniki मैले अब भाइ आज राम्रो होटलमा बसेर खाना खाऊँ भोलि चाहिँ अनि say, no, please take me now, otherwise I might change my decision. Because what he was going through and he was holding on to the trust that I was giving him. So we put him there and then they were very welcoming, Kripama. And so it was very interesting. त्यहाँ राखेर चाहिँ फेरि visitors जानु पाउँदैन रहेछ नि. So I went to the director and said, I have to see him off before I go. I'm going back abroad. I'd like to see him. And he facilitated that. And I met, and I don't know whether I should say, but I shall share. I'm sure Casey wouldn't mind. Ayo, and then as the director left, he left Casey and I in his office. And the मेरो भाइ थियो and the भाइले मलाई यसरी आँखा परिआएको थियो and आइला मलाई उनीहरूले भाँडा धुनु लगायो टोयलेट धुनु लगायो can I not stay here, can I please go home? And I said, bye, you're here, give 1 month chance in your life, and if you do that म promise गर्छु 1 monthमा तिमीलाई भेट्न आउँछु. I will come from abroad, I will come and meet you, I'll bring mom, I'll bring Rumbuchula from Rumtag, I'll bring your family member. And that time, if you say you don't want to stay, I'll honor that. I'll honor the word. And I'll take you home, Bunny. Then he said, okay, 1 month. And then we waited for that Sunday. We went to Kripa in Darjeeling and we met Casey. Wow, what a transformation. This guy that we've always known had found himself. And he said, I said, do you want to go home? And he says, no, I want to continue. In those days, it was 6 months. I'll continue. And then, it was such a relief for the family. My mom was so happy he had found himself the true person that he was. Because young age, well, we all get swayed away different, And then Casey finished and he did so well. Usually people have to go to Mumbai to be trained as a counselor. And they really liked the person he was. And Casey never turned around.
And he has already completed more than 20 years, I guess.
He's 25 years.
25 years.
25
Yes.
years.
Coming out clean.
Clean, absolutely. And what I love about him, Casey wakes up every day around 4:30 every day. He does 108 prostration, cha. And then 5 o'clock, he's down there with his resident taking classes. They all will be praying in the morning or doing, national anthem or exercise. And then he goes to bed exactly at 8:30 at night. But before that, again, he takes class with the residents during the week. Like just instant this morning today, by 7 o'clock, he was already off to go and take classes in the college. He wants to transform lives. And he does not take any credit. And he lives like a sadhu, very
Absolutely.
simple.
Absolutely. Because
So I'm honored to be here talking about my brother because I'm so proud of him. And he needs a break as well. I mean, there are so many little things that I hear. I mean, just the young fellow here is doing an amazing job with him. So he calls me when he's struggling. So I just try to give him perspective of always looking back. And I like to be his backbone.
that is why I brought this context in the conversation, is because we know that it's an open fact that Sikkim is grappling with this substance abuse, because so much of news of peddling drugs, and in fact, entire the system, the government, police are making effort to bring it down, but somehow what we feel is there needs to be a motivation for every individual, right? Like what K Cinema was you were there for K Cinema. I think everyone needs that support system and the motivation. That's very, very important, right?
What I find really lacking in Sikkim is there's such a class system. There's a
Class system as in
gap between the
financial class system.
yes, haves and have-nots I'm talking about. But because I had nothing when I went to Australia, I went as a student. I worked very hard. I saved. And I couldn't even come for my grandmother's funeral because she had passed here. And I thought, the cost of the flight, it cost me lakhs of rupees. I would rather use it in Bati Balno than me coming there because she's passed away. Then I was just a student, Mogaka, ek saal mate back there, So now I have a very comfortable life. And absolutely, just this morning, mo Kesinimako Freedom Center, I gave a talk to share with people that Atma Biswas, if you believe in yourself, you've lost yourself. That's why you're taking this, whatever form or shape to get lost. But if you actually believe in yourself, you love yourself, look within yourself. If you find that, then I think you can transform. And also the love of a mother and father and siblings is genuine. It's unconditional. And if you take one substance abuse, you're just being, thinking about yourself. But you don't see how it's affecting others. But if you start thinking of you'll be a happy person when you start doing charitable work. And any work is respect as long as you're doing honestly. There's no shanukam or tulokam. Every work is, for me,
no
I see
less
that.
dignified.
Absolutely.
So with such diverse experiences, behind you, what have been the biggest lessons, you have learned personally and professionally?
Personally, definitely, as I was saying earlier, every work you do, there's no shanu or no tulo. A work is a service. And when you first thing I wake up, I always see it as, how can I be of service today? That's how I see it. And I think with that motivation in mind, time goes and you're actually happy as well. You're not so focused on me and my happiness and how am I looking today or what I'm wearing or who I'm hanging out. It's actually about what can I give? And I think that's the role of a mother. You're always giving. And in that comes the blessing. And you're loved, appreciated.
Right. So what are your future plans? What dreams you have,
My
especially?
future plans?
Yes.
Definitely, I'm very engaged with my children and my extended nieces and nephew and my siblings. But I do have a very interesting project that I'm doing in Thatangchen, in Sikkim, which will, I think, slowly come out, which I'll save it for another time. I'm sure I'll get invited, hopefully.
Right.
But right now, I think the immediate instant one would be completing this
Documentary.
Sikkim on the Land of Clouds. We have captured a lot. We actually interviewed the author of Smash and Grab, Sonam
Sunanda
Ongmu
Dattare?
I invited him from Calcutta to Gangtok.
Really?
Yes, I flew him here and hosted him for 2 days. Bichara wise, 86 years old man, on a wheelchair, he flew, honored the word, he came here. And then also I've been able to be in contact with Pempula Palton, who's been very helpful opening up to us, because I can see Sikkim has developed, but there's still a little bit, people want to know what Namgyal family is about. And such a beautiful man. So he's really gentle. He's open up, Semla's open up. And because we live, my children are half Aussies, half Australian, and they're like that as well, So they want to mingle, but they don't know. There's a little gap. So it was so nice. And then Tulkula from Palace Monasteries open up that side. Every author, like I went and contacted Mr. Jigme and Kaji, beautiful open up. I went and met Mr. Kailash Pradhan. He gave his own perspective. I met Sonam Gyalchen from Echo Stream. He's doing a fantastic job. I met this agriculture man from Piling he's retired, but he's planting, tea, kiwi, tea leaves, cardamom, going to monasteries. How can we do? People are putting their own end. Retirement is not about now waiting something to happen, but with my knowledge, what can I give? I always say, what can you give? Don't wait for something to happen, but what can you give? And I think there's beauty, because we don't know when we're going to die. I might just drop dead tomorrow. But as long as you're alive, you've lived your life, and that's what I'd like to do.
So when are you planning to release the documentary?
So I think the main is this is going to be international. It's not just for Sikkim. We want it to be viewed international public, globally. And for that, we will need a huge fund, because it has to be high standard, and the editing in the West is very expensive. We have to pay hourly, and so now even if you've captured 30 hours or 40 hours, that had to be, and it has to be, whether we haven't decided whether it's going to be 1 hour or it's going to be series, and that for that we need someone. And so in November we're going to go to Goa Film Festival, and that time people from all around the world come, they see. So we're going to make a little bit of showreel to attract about what Sikkim is. And we've got nice, my husband's very good in marketing. Mark knows what he's doing. He's a beautiful storyteller. So hopefully we can come up something. We would like to try Netflix, but I believe Netflix is a very high standard. With the video, they need their own lenses. But let's see. We'll take one step at a time. But it is going to happen. I can't say when, but it will happen. And I would love for, Sikkim viewers. Oh, and I want to quickly say thank you to DOP Secretary, Agya, we call him Agya Ringsing. And he was so sweet. He was so open. Bainila, please come. We are family. Gave me permission to shoot on State Day, wherever you want. Drone, because this is something we want to promote Sikkim. It's not like personally. In fact, I'm investing all the money on my own right now to create this. And Mark invited my Australian friends who's got the skill. All his life he's made documentary. And then I got to show, screen at Mananban, two of my old documentaries.
Yes, exactly.
And So Sweet Rim was very helpful in getting us opportunity to show that. But there are a lot of people who's been out there to help me. I got to meet last year Tourism Secretary through Agye Palpun, who's the director, and then Waharu, so nicely open. I loved everyone has been so helpful. Like I went to IPR department, Secretary Didi. They all were, yes, how can we help? And I love that about Sikkim. And people who ever come, they say, Sikkim is beautiful. The hospitality can never be compared. And I try to uphold the same values and culture back in Australia. So even in my little way, just a little dot in the space, how can I serve what a beautiful Sikkim is?
Sonam, we really appreciate your initiative, On this occasion of 50 years of statehood, you have voluntarily taken up this initiative to take Sikkim into a global platform, through your documentary and through your film. We wish you all the best for your future endeavors. And lastly, I just would like to take a note and a message for the younger generation, particularly like, those navigating identity, diaspora, or like cross-cultural lives. What's your message for them?
So, in my research, I came last year in May, again in December, and now, and I've been asking myself, what is the identity? What makes you Sikkimese? And I think I've summed up it as the love of the land. It's not whether you're Bhutia or Lepcha or Nepali or you've come from somewhere else. It's the love of the land, what you give to the land that makes you Sikkimese. Don't say what land should give you, but what you can give to the land and live in harmony because it's a global world. You can't say, I'm from here and you are not. This is your land. You got to take care of the land, and land will give you in abundance.
Absolutely. What a thoughtful note to
So
end
thank
this
you
lovely
so
conversation. What you can give to land matters, not what land gives to you.
Absolutely. Not what government is giving me, but what can I do individually?
Absolutely. Sonam, thank you. It was so pleasure talking with you. And thank you so much for sharing your point of view, your expertise, and, everything which we asked to you. Thank you so much.
I feel so honored. This is, in fact, second time Tawaiसँग बोलेको.
Right.
Last time in 2013,
Buddha
I did
relics.
Buddha relics. And again, that was something I wanted to do. And I hope I was able to serve community in a very simple way. But thank you so much for having me. And I
You are
appreciate
welcome.
your work, what
You
you
are
do.
welcome.
So it's
Thank
an
you so
honor.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we do hope तपाईँहरूले सोनामसँगको कन्भर्सेसनलाई इन्जोय गर्नुभयो होला अनि वी रियली अप्रिसिएट हामीले सराहना गर्नुपर्छ कि अस्ट्रेलियाबाट आएर उहाँले सिक्किममाथि डकुमेन्ट्री बनाएर अहिले अब यसलाई फेरि ग्लोबल प्लेटफर्ममा उहाँले लाने प्रयास गरिरहनु भएको छ एन्ड अफ कोर्स सी इज द डटर अफ सिक्किम एन्ड द लभ फर सिक्किम we can sense it out. Thank you so much. Please feel free to criticize us, appreciate us. You can write down in the comment box. अर्को पालि यस्तै प्रकारको इन्स्पायरिङ पर्सनालिटीसँग फेरि भेट हुनेछ. Until then, with Pranam Pradhan, this is Nirmal saying goodbye and thanks for watching Sikkim Chronicle.